Good morning, everyone. Clint McLaughlin here, Midwest Market Management. I've got Riley Sykart on with me here today. It is Tuesday, November 11th. South America weather is becoming ever more important as the growing season continues. Riley, I hear we're about 60% or so planted in Brazil on soybeans, and I do believe Argentina is making some progress as well.
Yep, I just have Brazil maps today. We didn't get any Argentina updates on planning, but you mentioned 60 on beans. Well, you hit the nail on the head, 60 on the dot. So starting to hear into the maps. We were a little bit concerned last week when we talked about numbers were behind average, but evidently last week was a good planting week and everything's been caught up here. So Brazil on soybeans right at average, 60%. Corn, 1% behind. So everything's moving right along there. And the one thing you mentioned Argentina for planting progress. One thing that's important to remember is they don't plant all their crops at once. So they did this round one planting that's getting close to wrapped up. And then round two, they won't start that until December. So usually only about half the crop gets planted for corn, especially in during this first round one.
I
But
see.
it does sound like reading reports, more and more people are starting to go early, but still kind of a two-wave system for Argentina. Moving in here, areas to watch, especially on the Brazil side. Corn production for right now, you're looking heavily to the south, as most of the Mato Grosso and Goiás is second crop corn, which that usually won't be planted till that January, February timeframe. So moving over to the bean side to flip-flop it, first crop beans are all on the ground here to the north. So looking really heavily right now in that center west Brazil for soybean production. So putting that into perspective, how big of an area that I just glossed over is, putting Mato Grosso on a US map, almost the whole Midwest. So I just mentioned two little areas that look small, but the reality is it's the size of about a quarter of the United States. So not something that you can just look at and go, oh yeah, it's raining in Brazil. That's it. It kind of
Yeah.
has been the case, but you still got to dive more into it. So with that, quick look at temperatures here first. 1 to 5 day, 80s and 90s, Clint. What's wrong
Yeah,
with 80s and 90s?
that's a shade better than what the 102s to 104s that we were looking at not too long ago. Amazing how quickly things can change down there.
Yeah, a pretty quick change and not really a whole lot to talk about in terms of crop stress because they're not getting ridiculous amounts of rainfall to the north, but they are getting just enough to keep them tied by. The one area where it is different is down in the southern Brazilian area, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But Argentina, all the growing area, pretty much all in the 80s. So I can't add anything to that, Clint.
Yeah, looks ideal.
6 to 10, more of the same here. Center to central eastern Brazil, a little bit warmer, but 90s when you get rain is very different from 90s with no rain. So then 6 to 10 in Argentina, temperatures actually dropping off a little bit into the 70s. No talks of a frost or freeze issue, so not any concern there. Looking at the last 2 weeks of rainfall, this is why 90 degrees doesn't matter that much. Your growing areas are, other than a little spot in southern Mato Grosso, everything else is getting pretty solid amounts of rainfall. So really hard to be talking about drought scares when there's plenty of rain coming in. So Argentina had actually been on the wetter side. So seeing this little 2 week stretch of less rain coming has actually been beneficial to them. They're starting to get back to the point now where they wouldn't mind having rain, but definitely not hurting yet. Moving in the 1 to 5 day, a lot of Brazil is getting some rain, not a lot. Mato Grosso do Sul, which is this province here to the south, looking to get the heaviest amount. And if you go back to the last 2 week map, this area had actually been missed quite a bit. So I think Mother Nature's just trying to fill all the weather gaps. If there's a spot that didn't get rain, now it's going to get it. Pretty dang simple. Southern Brazil, where they've been getting absolutely bombarded with rain, is looking to finally miss some too. So taking a lot of concern out there in southern Brazil for floods, because there were talks of flooding issues, but they've pretty much all gone away here in the last couple weeks.
I
So
see.
1 to 5 day for Argentina. Some rain in the forecast, and when we looked at the last 2 weeks, they hadn't been getting that much, so no concern there. 6 to 10 days bringing more rain back into southern Brazil. Once we're getting this far out, we'll see how much of that really comes to reality. But overall, more rain in the forecast. No reason to be talking drought. No big storyline to get bullish for. That's the end all be all of this. And that's what we're looking for, is trying to get national yield and see how it's going to affect the grain markets. And not much to run with in terms of being a bull. So
Yeah, we talked about, Riley, about being 60% planted, and one's got to keep in mind what a massive continent this is. And, the 60% that is planted, that's pretty much well over a span of, that could be more than a month by now, of what was the earliest planted versus, what hasn't been planted yet. And, we were sitting here looking at pretty well ideal growing conditions for the most part, and we've had a really nice rally here as of late, and a lot of that mostly trade war, U.S.-China relation driven. But I still question if some of this isn't putting a little bit of premium in there for these earlier planted beans. That maturity level is escalating, and it won't be too much longer, another 30 to 45 days, I would think, and we're going to be getting a lot of this crop into some very critical growing, portions of the growing season where you're going to want to maintain moderate temperatures and adequate moisture. So while it feels a little mundane at the moment, paying attention to South America weather, I do believe that those the uncertainty is going to start coming along here, and things are going to become more and more important as we move forward.
yeah, definitely the case. You mentioned 30 to 45 days. Beans in northern Brazil will start to be pulled out of fields the last couple weeks of December. So hit the nail on the head. That's right in that 30 to 40 day stretch. And once you're in that time frame, that's when weather is absolutely critical, especially for those guys looking to get Safrinha corn planted right after those beans. So this next month to month and a half of Brazil weather especially is very critical.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to put the maps together. A big thank you to Marcus Weather Group for the great weather maps and the ability to just articulate our points and exactly what it is we're trying to look at. So again, it's Tuesday today, so we'll be back on here Thursday morning to let you know how we get the finish up the week. And I appreciate everybody tuning in. Thanks a lot and have a great day.
This material has been prepared by a sales or trading employee or agent of Midwest Market Management and is in the nature of a solicitation. This material is not a research report prepared by of Midwest Market Management Research Department. By accepting this communication, you agree that you are an experienced user of the futures markets, capable of making independent trading decisions, and agree that you are not and will not rely solely on this communication in making trading decisions. Distribution in some jurisdictions may be prohibited or restricted by law. Persons in possession of this communication indirectly should inform themselves about and observe any such prohibition or restrictions. To the extent that you have received this communication indirectly and solicitations are prohibited in your jurisdiction without registration, the market commentary in this communication should not be considered a solicitation. The risk of loss in trading futures and/or options is substantial, and each investor and/or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated by simulated historical tests of strategies, is not indicative of future results. Trading advice is based on information taken from trades and statistical services and other sources that of Midwest Market Management believes are reliable. We do not guarantee that such information is accurate or complete, and it should not be relied upon as such. Trading advice reflects our good faith judgment at a specific time and is subject to change without notice. There is no guarantee that the advice we give will result in profitable trades.